Who's heard of the word Vipassana? Oh, okay, good. Phew. All right, great. Well, I just said it like 2 minutes ago, so. Good. And would anybody dare venturing to say, what does that mean? What does the word Vipassana mean?
Clairvoyance.
Clairvoyance. And that was really like instantaneous. Great. Okay, we have clairvoyance. Mindfulness, yes. Insight. Yeah, that's a very common.
Can it be understood as seeing through?
Seeing through. Yeah. The penetrative seeing. Yes. Okay, yeah, well, that's pretty close. And what do we do? What's the retreat schedule usually when you go to one of these retreats? For those of you who have been,
you want the full schedule?
Yeah, you went to Dhamma, my center. So just like in terms of days, what do you do the first 3 days and then the rest?
First 3 days are Anapanā. And then the rest are the scan, Vipassana.
The scan, Vipassana. Yeah. And what does Anapanā have to do with anything?
Everything.
Yeah, everything, Bhante.
Gets you to enlightenment.
Good. Okay, good. Yes, great. Gets you to enlightenment.
Especially waking up at 4:30.
Especially waking up at 4:30. 4. Yeah, I forgot about that. It's funny how things not holding.
It sharpens your clarity so that you can actually do the scan.
Yeah, very good. Great. And that practice is also known as Samatha. Yes. And I believe, Vicente, you've been practicing a little bit of Samatha. You talked about Alan Wallace, and yeah, great. Yeah, and other people have practiced also kinds of Samatha practices in here. Usually it's less usual, yes? Some kind of, Anapanasati. And what is it understood as Anapanasati? What's the instruction usually?
Okay. Focus on the area above your lip and under your nostrils.
Yeah, the area below the nostrils, above the upper lip. So I'm just hearing Goenka talk. Yeah, very good. So Samatha is usually understood as a kind of one-pointed kind of meditation that usually takes the form of Anapanasati, and that is understood as putting your attention here and feeling the breath coming in and out, and kind of really honing in on that. And if the mind gets distracted, what do?
Come back.
To the nose.
You come back. Yeah, there's no 6 hours. You just come back. That's it. Which is, it's a way of doing it. And through that, so basically when you do that for 3 days, usually the schedule is to sharpen the awareness kind of thing that will become very one-pointed. And then it's sharper to do the Vipassana practice, right? Vipassana would be kind of like body scan, like feeling every little bits and pieces and subatomic particles. Yeah, and I just like to touch upon this topic just to talk about it, see what that means, and see what it means in terms of when we go back to the original teachings, what is found there, and what does the Buddha have to say. Because there's a lot of beautiful little things to understand from this Samatha and Vipassana, and how you can actually bring that home also with your practice. So yeah, usually it's understood as you would do quite a bit of samatha, which is concentration, and then you would start feeling body, or in other traditions it would be noting. Is anybody familiar with that? Like a mahasi? Yeah, noting, yeah. Like when walking is very different from the instructions we've been doing here, which is like, here is like walk normally to activate the body, still remaining with loving kindness, but in the Mahasi tradition, noting is like every little tiniest movement has to be noted, and so it's like putting down, 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 resting, 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 lifting, 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 lifting. So you've been really spoiled, you know, like 6 hour, relax, smile, walk, okay, all right. But yeah, Vipassana can be pretty intense. It's in whichever way you're doing it. And often it's really understood as like this kind of bodily scan, and so samatha often understood as like this concentration, one point, and making the mind very sharp. And vipassana is to kind of like analyze. Now there's like this analytical part. So understanding the impermanence of sensations and all that coming up, either pleasant or painful. And to remain equanimous with everything that arises. Vipassana is also, with time, there has been a lot of material added upon it, and it started with what is called the jnanas, the understandings, or the insight knowledges, which started as like something like 6 from the first times that some people wanted to kind of get together some kind of synthesis of the Buddha's teaching, because the suttas are beautiful, but they're very vast body of text and they're completely unorganized. So if you want to find any kind of linear teachings in there, you won't be able to. It's really... So a lot of people over the years have been trying to synthesize the teachings in like some kind of a core manual. And there's been a lot of them. And some of the earliest ones started to do that, and then you can see like, it started with 6 and then 12 and then 16 and it adds up and it adds up. But all of this is actually not even found in the original teachings. And all these Vipassana, have you heard of like the dark night of the soul? Yeah, okay. So yeah, so that's one of the jnanas, one of the insight knowledges, which apparently comes when you start going deeper and you see that there's no self and it's all impermanent, and then you just freak out because that's the insight. Whoa. It's all going. Anyways, and so, but interestingly, the Buddha doesn't really talk about that. Because when we go back to the original teachings, it's quite simple. And nowadays, that Samatha Vipassana thing, that whole umbrella, is really huge, and it's very blown out of proportion. Because first of all, in the original texts and the original teachings, it's not that much talked about. To be honest, if you go in the text and you try to find the word Vipassana, good luck. It doesn't come up very often, just like a handful of suttas. And Samatha Vipassana, usually they come together. And nowadays they're seen as 2 very different practices, but really they come together like 2 hands that wash one another. And on one side, we need to develop some mental calming the mind, and that culminates into seeing clearly. Vipassana. Because the word Vipassana comes from passati, like I said earlier, that is to see, passati, but vipassati is special, in a different way. And that is what is called sometimes insight, but really it means to see clearly, or to understand, to discern, or wisdom. And in the suttas, really when I was trying to understand, okay, so where does the Buddha even talk about this, and what does he say about it? And it comes in very, very few teachings, and one of them, basically he's saying one who, there's different kinds of people, and some people develop calm and tranquility, because that's what kind of samatha means, that tranquility, calm of the mind, and then they use that tranquility to see clearly or to discern mental states. And then some other people use vipassana, or that ability to see mental states clearly in order to calm their mind. So it's together. And what you've been doing on this retreat is samatha vipassana conjoined together. So they are both helping each other. And when we practice, for example, loving kindness with the 6 R's, then actually it's both at the same time. We have that aspect of seeing how the distractions are causing tension, and relaxing, bringing up a smile, and going deeper into that relaxation in the body. And so that is vipassana, seeing how that distraction is causing that tension, vipassana, and to release it, to relax it, to know how to calm the mind with wholesome states. And then together it goes deeper. And so always we are working with these 2 principles, and in Pali it's ajatang ceto samate, and that's the compound that it's found the most in. And so basically that means like one who's skilled at calming their mind inwardly, or like for themselves. And then for vipassana, it very often comes in a compound, which is Adhipaññā Dhamma Vipassanā, which is actually one word in Pali. In Pali is has that feature of sandhi, and you can have like words this long. It's really fun. And so Adhipaññā is like the higher wisdom, Adhipaññā Dhamma, and Dhamma means all kinds of things, but in particular it means teaching, but also it means mental states. And see here how it's interesting, how we would go from noting physical aspect of reality, which are just outside, to focusing on sensations on the body, which has a particular. If you're going to relax them and get in touch with them, then it's can be valuable. But here the Buddha is really putting the emphasis on it's all about mental states again. So the Adhipaññā is the higher wisdom of seeing, like Vipassanā, of seeing with clarity mental states. So that whole compound, that's what it is. And in my researches of this, so that's the closest thing that I could find to what that Vipassana is, really, because that compound comes out a lot. And so Vipassana is all about mental states and seeing mental states in a particular way for how they are wholesome and some unwholesome. So this whole retreat, that's what we've been doing, is from the time we started, we talked about the difference between these wholesome states and unwholesome states, what they do to the mind, and how to cultivate the wholesome and letting go of the unwholesome. So this whole time, this is what we've been doing. And Adhipaññā, the higher wisdom, is in fact very, very simple, and that's where we go to what is the insight? What are we talking about here? And what is the core awakening of the Buddha? We talked about it a few times yesterday. Dependent origination is close. Liberation, yes. No, very good, very good. But it ties into... Dependent origination is like a more elaborate breakdown of... Yes, the Four Noble Truths. It's always about the Four Noble Truths. And so if we don't talk about or practice the Four Noble Truths in any kind of way, we're not really tapping into the wisdom of the Buddha. And so this Adhipaññā, in other teachings, the Buddha explains that this is simply understand what is causing us tension or trouble or hurt in terms of mental states. And what is their source? What is the source of all unwholesome, hurtful states? Attachments, and under that? Craving, yes. Tension, yes. And it breaks down into 3 roots that I talked about yesterday. Greed, hate, and... Yeah, very good. Yeah. So, and seeing, and of course that breaks down into an even more colorful spectrum of that we've seen on day 2. Anybody remembers all of the states that you wrote on your little sheet? Sorry? Unwholesome states, yeah. Yeah, anger, jealousy, what else? Impatience. What? Fear, yes, very good. And seeing how that causes us tension and hurt, and knowing how to let that go, and how to get rid of that, how to relax that, and then knowing the path. So that is Vipassana. Was that hard? Oh, okay. Maybe it was a little too hard on day 9 here. Yeah, so it's actually really simple. It's funny because for me it took me years to understand this. It's just funny to give it, and the people are like, yeah, that's pretty, yeah, it's okay, that's cool. All right, I get it, Bhante. Can we talk about something else? I'm I was meditating for years and studying all of the 16 insight knowledges and all right, I think I'm here, and I'm reading all these books, and then finally reading the Buddha, and he's just yeah, that's the Four Noble Truths. That's it. That's it. That's all you need to do. And in terms of wholesome and unwholesome states, that's it. Period. Just let go of the unwholesome, cultivate the wholesome. That's the insight. Ooh. So yes, all these years. And so yeah, it's really quite simple in the end, and I like how in another teaching, he says that if we need to cultivate a little bit more samatha, for example, you can go to someone and some more vipassana, and ask how should mental states be observed, how should mental states be understood, and how should mental states be seen with clarity. Well, that's kind of the questions how are we supposed to understand vipassana? And all these questions, basically someone would answer in any kind of way using the Four Noble Truths, helping to understand, let go of this when that happens, and you see the tension, you see how hurtful it is, and just let that go, see the path. And then to calm the mind is how should the mind be stilled, how should the mind be made to rest. That one I like quite a bit. How should the mind be unified and how should the mind be composed. And on the retreat, this has been a very good Samatha Vipassana retreat because there is like the whole group is going through similar phases at similar time, which is quite usual. That one is not unique, but the uniqueness was in the roller coaster. And some days very deep calm, and then the next day no sleep. The mind just going like woo, yes, and then the next day going back deep, and then the next day everything coming up. And actually that is the cycle. That is Samatha Vipassana. You go down into the depth of your own mind, and then you calm, and then it's like calling on the monsters in the basement. That's what I call it. It's like in day-to-day life, usually we don't have time to deal with our little monsters, and we just open the door and put them in there. And then later when we come to a meditation retreat, then everything calms down. And then we start to practice loving kindness, and it's like, yay! And, oh no! Oh no! Not you! That was 12 years ago. Yeah, I'm glad everybody understands. Yeah. And it's the process, it's normal. And then, because when you go down and the mind gets calm, then you start to see everything that is just there, that is just waiting for you. And that's good, because that's how we get to work on that. And when you see it, it just comes to you. It's like Suzuki Roshi is like you invite them in for tea, and then you spend some time with them, and then you start to calm that down. And these are the waves of Samatha Vipassana, of tranquility and insight or seeing clearly, and it's coming. And then, okay, let's calm that down. Let's do maybe some forgiveness if the peak is a little too high. Yes, okay. Let's. Yeah, we'll need to go in a little bit for this one, and then slowly, as it starts to, become a little bit more manageable, the mind will stop going these extremes, and then it's gonna be more manageable, more calm, and then but the process is the same. So it's all about calming whatever is arising and seeing it properly with the right understanding, which is actually quite simple. Seeing how it's causing us hurt and how to let it go. And actually, the Four Noble Truths is like is the same template that they used for in medicine at the time of the Buddha. Like what is the problem? What is the illness? What is its cause? How to heal it, and basically like the prescription, or like the prescription was the treatment. Sorry, yeah, the treatment. And so actually the Buddha took that template and applied it in a very universal way to the mind and the heart and the wholesome states. So that's where that comes from. That's where the idea came. And so in day-to-day life, it's the same thing. It's all about finding these times where you can also bring some calmness into your life, invite some calmness. Maybe that means finding a time of the day where you can meditate every day. Holding a routine will really help you. A meditation routine is super helpful. of course, usually we recommend people to, I would recommend like 7 to 8 hours a day, but that's just, it's up to you. But usually people are not, they have jobs and all that, so. And so usually that's not that possible. The best case scenario, so usually in meditation circles, it's talked about like an hour in the morning, an hour in the evening kind of thing, just to kind of keep things really nice and smooth. Depending if people are morning people or evening people too, it depends if you can only do one meditation. In this particular way, the thing is that 1 hour won't necessarily be enough for you to experience the depth at which you were practicing here. So if you do just 1 hour, then it's really good. It's better than half an hour. It's better than no hour. Much better. But if you want to really maintain what you've gained here, 2 hours in one sit, because the mind actually needs that time. Of course, that's the best case scenario. I'm just sharing that with you. And if you want to go for 8 hours, then please go ahead. And otherwise, it's really up to you. And but just know that incorporating that into your daily life and having a routine will really help. Because when you train the mind, like at that time, every day, I'm meditating, it's really helpful for the mind to know, like, it knows that it has to be meditating at that time. So the pattern gets kind of into life, and actually, when the pattern is broken, that's when it's getting sloppy a little bit, and then usually people stop meditating. But so Samatha is really allowing you to find that into your day-to-day life and tap back into that wisdom inside. And that will manifest in so many beautiful ways in your life. And you'll be able to, with that calm and tranquility, translate that back into your life. As when you'll be at work, for example, or whatever you'll be doing, with that calmness inside, you'll be able to see how your mind is behaving more and more. And so that's really useful. And that is, as we saw the Eightfold Path earlier, and that we saw the 4 fields. One is the level of the mind, then speech, then actions, then livelihood. But right effort is to be done at all fields. So, and that Vipassana, that calmness of mind and that power of seeing what your mind is doing, what your speech is doing, what your actions are doing, and what your general livelihood also is doing, in order to, that was hurtful. That created tension. Maybe I can let that go. And so at any level of implication, body, speech, or mind, you can apply that. So that tranquility will translate into seeing how our behavior every day, what's happening, and keeping us away from accumulating hurtful things. And also every day doing a little backwash, it's good. Cleansing the mind and letting it go. And you'll notice it's really nice to have a kind of a mind that doesn't, a non-stick mind, which actually doesn't hold on to everything that happens all the time, It's like we can get so stuck up on like really not so important event, and we're still churning it in our minds, and meditation and relaxing, letting go will really help that process. So it's always the same thing, giving up unwholesome, hurtful qualities and gathering wholesome ones, cultivating them. and of course, meditation, I mean, the Buddha did meditate quite a lot too. So, and even, because some people would ask him, so why do you meditate still? Because you're fully awakened. Like, what's the point? Like, you don't really need to meditate. And he would say, because I find it pleasant. I find it like it's a pleasant abiding. That's what he called it. And before, I didn't really relate to that. I couldn't understand, because meditation was not necessarily a pleasant abiding. But now I understand, and now it certainly is. I can definitely, every single second of my whole meditation is good, and that's how it should be, really. And then he said, and I also have compassion for future generations. And so basically that just means showing by example. Because if people don't meditate, if they see the Buddha not meditating, then they're not going to meditate. And they're not actually going to really make progress. So, like in a more substantial way. Yeah, 2 hour long one, I don't think there's one like that. But all the retreats the guided meditations in the morning are recorded, and they are on SoundCloud. So that's where to find that specific, the guided meditations. All the guided meditations are there. So it's quite a lot to choose from. Yeah, with the 2 hour every day. That will keep what you've experienced here quite well in shape, quite intact, and the thing is that this has only been 10 days, so there's 355 days left of the year, and the thing is, if you do meditate every day, you will get insights about all kinds of things that you wouldn't in normal life, like without meditation. And retreats are very profound, and that it's like a big Samatha, or like it's a big reactor of, a powerhouse of the Dhamma and wisdom and all that. But coming out of the retreat also, the retreats are big punctuated events, and they keep unfolding after. And also going back into life and bringing the practice back into your life there will be a lot of insights around that that happen. And so in a way your practice, well, for sure will continue to grow, because a lot of it also has to do with how you live and how we live our lives, and how we integrate our practice into our lives, and how maybe some habits that we have, we start to see them like, oh, well, actually that's kind of like causing tension and like discomfort. And so what about if I change that? So little things like that. I didn't realize that you were asking for a 2 hour session just to do that. To do the 2 hour, yeah. Yeah.
Just hit pause.
Just hit pause. Well, you could, usually lately anyways, in the past few retreats, I've been breaking up, I start the retreat with more like the spiritual friend, or like spending more time within, and puppies and kittens and butterflies and baby goats, all that, and getting it going, and then the spiritual friend, and I guess you could start with one of the first ones of the retreat, and then if you want, because usually around day 7-ish, I'll start to open up the directions, which is something I've liked to do in the past few retreats. And so you could just like go to one of the, so play one that is the beginning and then play one that is the direction.
If I like open my eyes and press play, is it even still for 2 hours?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
2 hours.
Oh yeah,
Combine tracks and like
Yeah.
some kind of
yeah.
You just feel it.
It's just like combine
You can make a playlist. Make a playlist. There you go. Great. Found the solution.
Or we could just do one tomorrow.
We have other plans for tomorrow. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm. All right, and so 2 hours, and yeah, so that would be one sit, 2 hours. And obviously, usually people don't have that much more time during the day to give to meditation. So, of course, it's nice to have some in the morning and in the evening, because I found personally that, you know, my whole day, I'm more like a morning kind of person. So I like to start my day with, well, a really long meditation, but I feel like my whole day is just so much better, because my mind the whole day has been started with meditation and calm and wholesome state, so it's just bathed in there for a while, and then that's what carries on the whole day. But also there is a lot of benefits for the evening meditations, which I find, like if I don't meditate in the morning, my mind's just active at night, and I just really don't get that much, the same kind of rest. So meditating just before going to bed, it's like training your mind to let go and to be really clear and calm, and when you just like lay down, it just goes, and very restful night. So, and in terms of general health, I mean, it's pretty good if you do both, but yeah, that's all up to you to figure out at this point. And the other thing that can be done is, well, if you have a little bit more time on the weekend or something, maybe instead of like watching Netflix or something, you can do like a 2, 3 hour, 4 hour long meditation. I'm not saying anybody's watching Netflix here, but I used to.
Meditation on Netflix.
There's meditation on Netflix. There you go. Solved. I don't know. I kind of left that world like a few years ago, so I'm kind of, like my jokes are not that funny because I don't know what's going on anymore. Yeah, in any case, so, sometimes it's just about, like, you could trade off, I don't know, like a 2 hour, 3 hour long movie for a really nice meditation. So, but yeah, that's all up to you. And during the weekends, is sometimes possible. A lot of meditators, more experienced meditators, will save like their whole morning or whole kind of evening just for like a really long sit. And if you do that, if you do, for example, the 2 hour every day and then a longer sit on the weekend, that's actually really going to keep a really good momentum, quite a good depth, and it will actually go deeper. Mm-hmm. Not as it's always different than a retreat, but you can always tap into quite beautiful insights. Yes.
So just if we have like 45 minutes or 30 minutes, and that's all we can spare, I mean, are we able to maintain with that amount, or is it
45 minutes?
Yeah.
I mean, anything, like even if you were to do 5 minutes, it's better than nothing. So always remember that. Like even if you were to close your eyes for 1 minute and like even drop into that space for 1 minute, it's much better than 0 minute. So 45 minutes, it's already 45 minutes more than, not at all. And you get what you put in. In meditation, that's always like that. If you put in 45 minutes, you get 45 minutes of benefits. I forgot to say, my mom has been joining us from Quebec. When I was there on an 8-month retreat, I did a walking path, a meditation path around our yard. And every morning meditations that we have here in the hall, she's actually walking the path, doing meditation with us. So I forgot to tell you guys. And well, just a last little interesting story about this whole Vipassana thing and what it means and why I use the word seeing clearly. And in this teaching, there's the Buddha compares different kinds of persons to the levels of awakening that we've talked about yesterday. And often there's this analogy of like being underwater, or like of the flood, if you've ever heard of that. And he says that some people sink down and stay submerged. Some people rise to the surface and sink down again. Does that sound familiar? Some rise to the surface and stay there. Some rise to the surface, look around, and see clearly. And that's the word Vipassana, actually, Vipassati. Some risen to the surface, swim across to the shore. Some risen to the surface reach solid ground, and some crossed over and reached the shore are people who are standing straight on dry land. And here he's elaborating a little bit who are those who sink down and stay submerged. These are the ones harboring mainly dark and heavy and unskillful qualities. And so that's interesting, because I think a lot of people here, well, actually everybody, is not in that category, which is really already very good. You know, we talk about meditation and all that, but I think everybody here has a lot of wholesome qualities, and so that's already very beautiful. Those who rise to the surface and sink down again, those who rise to the surface thinking it is good to be confident, or to have faith, conscientious, scrupulous, devoted and discerning in wholesome qualities. And then they forget about it. It's like, yeah, that's really good. And then whatever. that was a nice retreat. And those who are those who rise to the surface and stay there. Those who rise to the surface thinking it is good to be confident, conscientious, scrupulous, devoted and discerning in wholesome qualities. And they do not fade away, but they do not grow in it so much either. So it's like they stay level with it. So it makes sense. It's good to be there. It's good to be in those qualities. But it's like you have your breathing out. That's good. And then who are those who rise to the surface, look around and see clearly? Those who come to the surface think it is good to be confident, conscientious, scrupulous, devoted, and discerning in wholesome qualities. They completely give up the first three fetters and enter the stream, done with the lowest mental states and headed for full awakening. This is considered some people who come to the surface and they actually start to understand. They really see and they keep going. So they're kind of on the path. And further and further, it's the same. Basically, just swimming to the shore is the two other feathers. And then standing up on the dry land is just completely awakened. So no more swimming, no more trying to have to fight for wholesomeness and unskillful qualities. So that's kind of gives a tour of what that means, and we also find that really in the Threefold training. I'm not sure if you are all familiar with that, but in Buddhism we speak a lot about Sīla, Samādhi, and Paññā. And these three are called the three trainings. The training in virtue, Sīla, and that is the 5 virtues that we take every morning, not the 8, but just the 5. And then basically setting up the base, the ground for all the work to happen without the mind getting agitated, because we move away from these very essential virtues. And then Samādhi is basically just the training of the mind and the training in wholesome states, the meditation, bhavana. And Samādhi is another word for Samatha, so calming of the mind as well. And then we have Paññā, which is wisdom. I've explained it. And Paññā and Vipassana basically mean the same thing. Very wisdom, discernment, insight, or just understanding. And so really what matters when we go home and bring this practice home is not necessarily trying to attain anything. It's not about, levels of meditation. It's not about levels of awakening, even less. Actually, these are all really good places to get trapped and try to, get somewhere, which actually, these are just like landmarks. At some point, they might happen. They're good to know. It's good to know, but they're not that important. And what I like to put emphasis on at this point is just these two hands that wash one another, Samatha and Vipassana. Finding time in your life to slow down, to calm your mind, and see mental states that are hurtful, let them go. Continue the practice, cultivate wholesome, beautiful states with joy and love. And why? Why with joy? And why? Love, loving kindness. They're wholesome, yes. But they also help letting go. When the mind is joyful, it's easy to let go. It's actually really easy. It just flows out of you. Like my teacher would say, the easiest way to let go of an attachment is to laugh. So that's another really good trick in your life, by the way. And so, well, maybe you see me laughing sometimes. That's kind of what's going on. Yeah, and using these two things in your life continuously, and then in every aspect of your life. This is so beautiful, and there's no attainment there. There's nothing there. There's no station to be arrived at or attained. It's just basically letting go of anything that is hurtful, that is causing you tension, and that's what really matters in the end. So I hope that stays with you, and tomorrow will be a little bit different. We'll have a little bit of a talk, like kind of last day talk, but we'll also have a sharing circle. So everybody will be invited to share something that they like to the group, or an insight that they've understood, or just something that you want to share. It's just nice to end the retreat with nobody's been talking, and then we all see each other, but nobody knows each other. So except the New York people. But let's have a good night and enjoy the last night. Well, not the last night, but the night before the chit-chat day. And talk will begin after tomorrow's meditation. I just want to clarify. And in the morning. And then tomorrow morning we'll have a slightly shorter guided meditation and the chanting, and then we will have a little group metta around the tree outside to kind of immortalize the loving kindness grounded in the Tierra Moor's grounds. Yeah. We'll do a little bit shorter guided meditation. We'll do the chanting, and then we'll all gather by the tree. I'll probably chant the Metta Sutta, and then we'll all blast the tree with loving kindness. Probably all touching it. No, not that one. Karaniya matta kusalena. Do you know that one? Okay. It's in the book. It's in the puja book. So, yes.
So I'm just trying to reconcile what you were saying about not clinging to, or maybe not striving for like attainment, but also earlier in the retreat you were talking about like the importance of will, and so maybe there's a subtlety there you could expand on, especially for those of us that are not good at not clinging to things like that.
Yes, yes. So the will is best put to use, I would say, in regards to cultivating wholesome states and abandoning unwholesome ones. So when we went through the Eightfold Path, we were looking in the puja book at the Eightfold Path, and when we read the right effort, the wise practice, the section on wise practice, that's where we found that word Chanda, the word for will or wholesome desire. And right effort is about just that, abandoning unwholesome states, unskillful states, and cultivating wholesome, beneficial states. That's really where the will is best placed, just there, to really continually want to do that, continuously, at all four fields, so body, speech, mind, livelihood. Yeah. Of course, we all, for example, wanting liberation is a skillful desire. It's a wholesome desire. But the more we practice, the more we'll notice that if that desire is too strong, then it actually impedes us in many ways. Like wanting an attainment, wanting a specific jhana. It's like, it's a wholesome wish, but then if it becomes too tight, then it actually impedes our progress. That's it, yeah. Great. It's like I was talking about attaining Nirodha yesterday. The best thing to not attain Nirodha is, or the complete release of awareness, is just that idea of like wanting it. It's like that's the best way to not get it. It's because you'll be like always trying to see, oh, was that it? Oh, I think, oh, no. Oh, where was I? Oh, no. So, yeah, it's actually a really sticky one, that one. And then at some point you build up a little bit of detachment, you're like, okay, whatever, and then you go in and boom, oh, that was it. So it's really, yeah, it's a funny one. And then you start to really understand like how that works and how that would work in like other, like everything else basically, and like wanting to be like an arahant or an anagami or whatever it is. It's just, yeah. There's a background like direction and desire for it, but then it's just, it's the desire is mostly in well, at least that's where it should be or is best put to use towards enjoying the liberation. That's why I say that the joy is the leading horse of the whole carriage. When joy is at the front, the whole thing is going to go the right direction. May suffering ones be suffering free, and the fear-struck fearless be. May the grieving shed all grief, and may all beings find relief. May all beings share these merits that we have thus acquired for the acquisition of all kinds of happiness. May beings inhabiting space and earth, devas and nagas of mighty powers, share these merits of ours. May they long protect the Buddha's dispensation. Sadhu.